Welcome to the series, How America Was Stolen. Episode 6. The first rebellion shook the colonies like thunder rolling through the trees. For the English settlers, it wasn't just a warning, it was humiliation. And humiliation to them demanded blood. Instead of asking why the native nations resisted, instead of recognizing their own broken promises and growing aggression, the settlers decided that rebellion must be crushed with fear, fire, and force. This moment, right here, is where the colonists begin to shift from struggling newcomers to calculating conquerors. After the attacks on English outposts, the colonial leaders gathered in their makeshift forts. Their faces were tight with anger, their pride wounded, their fear hidden under armor and scripture. They believed the rebellion wasn't just a challenge, it was defiance. And defiance, in their world, deserved punishment. They planned their revenge carefully. First came the scouts. English soldiers moved through Powhatan territory under the cover of night, studying the land as if it were a map to be stolen. They counted how many warriors lived in each village. They marked the location of food stores, fishing spots, secret paths through the forest. Every detail became a weapon. When they returned, the leaders wrote the first of many chilling decisions. Strike fast. Strike hard, break their will. The earliest attacks pretended to be peace talks. English officers arrived at native villages carrying gifts, fresh bread, blankets, small trinkets, and invited the chiefs to sit and negotiate. The tribes, hoping to prevent more bloodshed, agreed. They sat, they listened, they offered terms, and then, without warning, the settlers opened fire. Warriors collapsed before they could even stand. The meeting circle turned red. The English set fire to the village as children screamed and families scattered. They dragged away what food they could carry, stomped on the crops, and rode off as the flames consumed everything behind them. This was not a battle, it was an execution. And it didn't stop there. Colonial commanders issued orders to burn every village that seemed uncooperative. Settlers raided hunting camps, killing anyone they found. They blocked rivers that tribes relied on for fishing. They destroyed canoes, tools, and sacred items with no hesitation or remorse. The colonists believed this brutality would terrify the native nations into giving up their land. But one of the darkest decisions of all came from Lord de la Warr, the man who shaped early colonial warfare. He believed the native people needed to be driven to desperation. Under his leadership, the colonists turned starvation into a military strategy. Entire fields of corn were hacked down before harvest. Winter food storage pits were dug up and set on fire. Fishing nets were cut and left to rot on shorelines. If the tribes resisted, they starved. If they retreated, they starved. If they fought back, they starved. This was cruelty with intention. And yet, the tribes endured, even as their homes burned, even as their food vanished, even as their loved ones were killed or kidnapped. They regrouped. They retreated deeper into the forests they knew better than any map. They built hidden camps. They sent runners between tribes to warn others of the settlers' growing violence. Because the colonists misunderstood something powerful. You cannot break a people who have lived in harmony with the land for thousands of years. You can hurt them, you can wound them, but you cannot erase their knowledge, their unity, or their spirit. And so, as the settlers celebrated their victories, the native nations were quietly preparing something the colonists did not expect, an organized, strategic counterattack. The colonists thought their revenge would end the resistance, but instead, it set the stage for a conflict that would shake every settlement in Virginia. A conflict that would prove the native nations were not defeated. Not broken, not done fighting. What came next would stun the English so deeply. It would become one of the most significant uprisings in the early history of America.